Welcome, Lilies. I know many of you have been waiting for this story, and I'm truly sorry for the delay. Your patience means the world to me. I'm so grateful for your unconditional love and support. After my experiences on Wattpad, which didn't pay, and Scroll Stack, where chapters were out of reach for many, I have chosen this platform to share updates for free, while also earning a little to support my journey as an author. A balance I hope you'll appreciate. Today, I'm excited to finally bring you the first chapter of Two Souls Written in Scars, dive into the emotions, mysteries, and unforgettable moments, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for being part of this journey. Let's make it magical together. I don't deserve love. Love isn't meant for me. That's all the girl walking down the street could say with her trembling lips. At that moment, she couldn't hear anything. A car behind her was honking loudly, signaling for her to move aside. But the girl, she wasn't in her senses at that time. The car barely managed to pass her from the side. As it went by, a young man around 20 or 22 years old spoke angrily from the inside the car. Are you crazy? I've been honking for so long. Why are you walking in the middle of the road? If you want to die, go jump off a cliff or something. Why do you want to get us innocent people involved in a murder case for no reason? Hearing the guy's words, the girl seemed to snap out of her daze. The car had already moved ahead. The girl looked at the car, and the guy in the car saw her face in the rearview mirror. She was wearing a red suit, which had clung to her body due to the heavy rain. She had a fair complexion, wasn't very tall, had big eyes smeared with kajal, but those eyes were filled with tears and were red from crying. She wore small earrings, and her lips were adorned with red-colored lipstick. Curls of her black hair hung over her shoulders. She was extremely beautiful, but there was no smile on her face. There was only pain in her eyes. The guy looked at the girl and regretted his harsh words, saying to himself, "Maybe I said too much. She seems like a sweet girl, but probably wasn't in her senses. She looks very troubled. That's why she's crying. Mom always says you shouldn't speak without knowing someone's situation. Maybe my words hurt her. Forgive me, God. I won't hurt anyone again. I promise." The girl watched the car disappear from her sight. The rain had intensified. Today, it seemed, even the sky wanted to cry with her. The road had become completely deserted. The girl saw a bench nearby and sat down. There was probably a tea stall there. The girl was just looking at the empty road, watching the raindrops falling with her empty, tear-filled eyes. Then an old woman approached her, extending a cup of tea, saying, "Beta, you seem to have gotten drenched badly in the rain. Here, have some tea." The girl looked at the woman, not knowing what to do. She struggled to say, "Thank you, but I don't have any money." The old woman replied, "That's all right. I'll think of it as giving tea to my own child. Have it, or you'll catch a cold." The girl took the tea from the woman's hand. The woman also sat beside her, holding a cup of tea. She took a sip and asked the girl, "What's her name?" The girl was lost in her own thoughts. Hearing the woman's question, she came out of her reverie and said, "What? Did you say something?" The woman repeated, "What's her name? That's what I asked." The girl took a sip of tea and replied, "Oh, Trishvika Ra." She paused for a moment, then said her full name, Trishvika Jindal. The old woman smiled and said, "Trishvika, what a lovely and unique name you have." A faint smile appeared on Trishvika's face as she said, "Yeah, by the way, the tea is very good." The woman said, "Oh dear, it's our daily job. Today, because of the rain, there were no customers. So I thought I'd make some tea for myself, but then I saw you and thought I'd share the tea with you." Hearing the woman's word, Trishvika smiled. But this smile was false. Only she knew what she was going through inside. The old woman asked again, "What are you doing alone in such heavy rain? And at this hour?" Trishvika realized it was evening, and because of the rain, the little light there was had also turned to darkness. She said, I was going home, but it started raining on the way." The old woman took a sip of tea and said, "Oh, no problem. Wait until the rain stops, then go. And it's not safe for girls to roam around at night like this. Anything could happen. Take a rickshaw or an auto." Then the woman remembered that this girl had no money. She said, "Beta, you are like my daughter. I'll give you some money. You can go home comfortably." Trishvika looked at the woman. She probably earned just a few hundred rupees each day, but her heart was so big. In today's world, where do people help others like this? Trishvika said, No, I'll go by myself. I don't need it." The woman scolded her this time. "I told you, didn't I? It's not safe for you to walk home alone at this hour. I'm giving you money. Take a rickshaw and go home. And if you want to return the money, come to the shop in the morning. My shop isn't going anywhere." Trishvika listened to the woman but didn't say anything. After a while, when the tea was finished, Trishvika said, "Thank you very much, auntie. The tea was really good." The woman replied and walked inside saying, "You stay here. I'll be right back." And she went inside. The woman took some money from the bed in her room and came out after a while. But when she came out, there was no sign of the girl on the bench. Trishvika had already left. The old woman looked around the road but couldn't see Trishvika anywhere. She said to herself, "Oh, this girl. Who knows where she went at this hour? Dear Lord, please ensure she reaches home safely." Meanwhile, the rain had intensified even more. Trishvika had walked far away. The path was very deserted, and there was a cliff on the other side of the road. Trishvika remembered the guy's word from a while. "If you want to die, go jump off a cliff or something. Why do you want to get us innocent people involved in a murder case for no reason?" Trishvika stopped at one place. Many thoughts were running through her mind at that moment. She started staring at the cliff. Just a few hours ago, she was so happy, so excited. And now she was wandering in this state on the road. What had happened in the afternoon was replaying in her mind like a repeat telecast. Flashback starts. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. She was very happy today. Her phone was ringing continuously. She received the call and said, "Hello?" A voice from the other side said, "Happy birthday, Ashwidi." Trishvika smiled and said, "Thank you so much, Karhik." Karhik said, "Dee, what's the plan for this evening? Come over here, we'll have a party." Trishvika blushed a little and said, Sorry baby, I can't come today. Your Jiju has planned a dinner. If I cancel the dinner, he will make the entire house upside down. You know how he is, right?" Karhik made a face and said, "I'll have to do something about this Jiju. He has stolen our sister from us. He doesn't let us celebrate any festivals, birthdays, anything with you." The girl standing next to Karhik glared at him and said, "What are you saying?" Trishvika said, "Hey, it's okay. Try to understand. I'll come home tomorrow, right? Then we'll have a party, okay?" The girl standing with Karhik snatched the phone from him and said, "It's all right, Dee. Enjoy with Jijaji. Karhik is just gone crazy. He says anything." Trishvika heard her voice and smiled, saying, "Thank you so much, Niharika. At least you understand me. I'm glad you are with this crazy guy and handle him. Otherwise, he's a total fool." Niharika saw Karhik making a weird face and laughed, saying, "Happy birthday, Dee. Enjoy your day." Trishvika said, "Thank you, my love." Niharika said, "Okay, Dee. Take care." "You too, dear," said Trishvika as she disconnected the call. Then she came out of her room. Coming to the hall downstairs, she saw Reena ji sitting on the sofa reading her magazine. Trishvika sat next to her and said, "Mom, Devyansh and I are going out for dinner this evening." Reena ji looked at Trishvika with a sidelong glance and said, Trishvika immediately said, "Don't worry, Mom. I have explained everything to the house staff about what to make for dinner and how. There won't be any problems." Reena ji didn't take her eyes off the magazine and said, Then Trishvika also fell silent. After a while, the doorbell rang. Trishvika knew who it would be. She got up excitedly and said, "It must be Devyansh. I'll open the door." Reena ji didn't say anything. Smiling, Trishvika quickly went to the door and opened it. Devyansh was indeed at the door. But seeing him, Trishvika was stunned. She didn't know how to react. She just stared at her husband with wide eyes, who at that moment was holding a wedding garland in his hands and was accompanied by a girl wearing a garland around her neck. The sindoor on her forehead and the Mangal Sutra around her neck were proof of a marriage. When Trishvika didn't come inside for a long time, Reena ji got up from her place and came to the door asking, "What happened? Who is it?" And when she saw this scene, she was so shocked that she could only say, "Devyansh? Shivali? All this? Devyansh lowered his gaze and holding the hand of the girl standing next to him said, "Mom, we got married." Hearing this, it felt like the ground slipped from beneath Trishvika's feet and darkness descended from her before her eyes. She staggered, and just then Devyansh stepped forward to catch her. Trishvika felt his touch and, in a swift motion, pulled her hand away from his, her trembling voice saying, "जख्म देने वाला मरहम लगाता हुआ अच्छा नहीं लगता." The one who inflicts wounds doesn't look good applying ointments. And she walked inside. She said to Reena ji, Tell them, Mom, to leave from in front of my eyes." Reena ji heard Trishvika and asked her son, "Why did you do all this, Devyansh?" Devyansh provided a reason. "Mom, Shivali and I love each other, and Shivali is going to be the mother of my child." Hearing this, it felt like Trishvika's entire world shattered in an instant. Not only had her husband married someone else today, but he was also about to become a father. This meant he must have been deceiving her for an unknown amount of time, while she foolishly believed that her husband loved her. Reena ji, shocked, asked, "What?" Devyansh said, "Yes, Mom, and I didn't want to spend my entire life with a girl who couldn't even give me a child in 2 years." Trishvika's eyes were so filled with tears that she couldn't see anything. She came back to the door and said, "So you married someone else? Didn't think even once about me or our relationship?" Devyansh looked at Trishvika without any emotions and said, "No, I didn't. Because I can't stay in a forced relationship with you. I feel suffocated, and I can't live suffocating anymore. Forgive me." With every word Devyansh spoke, Trishvika's heart was breaking 1,000 times, but no sound was coming out. She said to Reena ji, Mom, tell him to leave this house. I won't accept his marriage, his second wife, or this child. Tell him to leave." Devyansh heard Trishvika's and, squinting his eyes, said, "1 minute. Wait. This is my house. Why should I leave? If anyone is going to leave this house, it's you, Ashwi." What do you mean?" Trishvika asked, shocked. Devyansh, holding Shivali's hand, brought her inside the house in front of Trishvika and said, "Yeah, you will leave this house." Trishvika, looking at Reena ji, said, "Mom, what nonsense is Devyansh talking? Say something to him." Reena ji, who was just watching the scene, said, "What should I say, Ashwi? It's his life. We have always given him the freedom to make his own decisions. Now, if this is his decision, what can I do? And what about me? My life, my decisions?" Trishvika questioned. Reena ji rolled her eyes and said, "Isn't it partially your fault too? You are barren. You couldn't give us even one child yet. How long will these old eyes wait to see grandchildren?" Oh, so she had to endure all this because she couldn't get pregnant. But is it her fault? Is she not getting pregnant on purpose? No, right? What girl wants to be unable to become a mother? Why is she being punished for something that isn't her fault? Trishvika said. So I am being punished for the mistake I didn't even make. Stop your drama, Ashmi, Devyansh said, placing the wedding garland on the sofa. Trishvika's entire life had been ruined, and this man was calling it drama, she said. This seems like drama to you? Devyansh threw a file on the table and said, "Forget it. Sign these." What is this? Trishvika asked with trembling lips. Devyansh, sitting comfortably on the sofa, said, "Divorce papers. Sign these divorce papers and leave, Ashwi." Trishvika couldn't understand what was happening to her. Just a short while ago, everything was fine. She was happy. But suddenly, everything in her life had turned upside down. Seeing the divorce papers, all the emotions on Trishvika's face disappeared in an instant. 2 minutes. 2 minutes were enough to eradicate all the love Trishvika had for Devyansh. She moved forward, picked up the pen, and placed her trembling hands on the paper. And just then, she heard Devyansh's voice in her ears. "I will give you 18% of my property shares. You will live your life comfortably. That should be enough, right?" Hearing this, whatever little emotions were left inside Trishvika dead instantly, and all the second thoughts she had while signing the divorce papers vanished. Without any emotions, she signed the papers and threw them at Devyansh, saying, "I don't need your money or your name anymore. I'm leaving now, but I will come back, Devyansh Rana, to take revenge for the injustice done to me. I will come back to destroy you. Just wait for that day." And then, without looking at anyone, she walked towards the door. Today she left that relationship, that love, everything right there on the threshold. And she herself crossed that threshold and walked outside. Flashback ends. Trishvika stood by the edge of the cliff. One line kept repeating in her mind, one she said to Devyansh as she left the house. "I'm leaving now, but I'll be back, Devyansh Rana. I'll come back to avenge the injustice done to me. I will destroy you. Just wait for that day." Trishvika had not decided what she needed to do. Yes, she didn't know how she would do it all, but she knew it had to be done. And then a car stopped nearby. A young man, about 24 years old, stepped out of the car. He quickly came up to Trishvika and, pulling her back with a jerk, said, "Dee." Trishvika seemed to come back to her senses. Her brother, Karhik, stood in front of her. Without saying anything, Karhik pulled Trishvika into a tight hug. Trishvika did not react. She just tapped Karhik's back twice. Karhik pulled away and said, "Dee, what were you going to do? If I hadn't come in time, then..." Trishvika, with vacant eyes, asked, What are you doing here?" Karhik replied, "I got a call from your mother-in-law. She told me everything and asked me to bring you back. By the time I reached there, you had already left. I've been searching for you like crazy since evening. Your phone wasn't reachable either." Trishvika just nodded and said, Just then, a girl came up to her and, hugging her, said, "Thank God, Ashwini, you are okay. So much has happened. Why didn't you call any of us?" Trishvika replied, "What would I have said, Niharika? That my husband divorced me in an instant and threw me out of the house." Hearing this, Niharika fell silent. Karhik said, "We are all here for you, Dee. We won't let that bastard get away so easily." Trishvika didn't say anything. It was still raining. Niharika, leading Trishvika towards the car, said, "Karhik, will think about this later. Let's first take Dee home." Niharika helped Trishvika into the car and then sat in the back seat with her. Karhik got into the driver's seat and the car sped forward on the road. After a while, the doorbell rang. Omikaji opened the door to find Karhik and Niharika standing there with Trishvika. All three were drenched. Seeing Trishvika's condition, Omikaji immediately pulled her daughter into a tight hug. Trishvika stood there motionless. She neither blinked nor moved. It seemed as though she couldn't see or hear anything. They all went inside. Trishvika's dad, Abhigyanji, came forward and said, "How could they do this to our daughter? I will talk to Devyansh myself." Trishvika said nothing. Abhigyanji looked at her emotionless face and helplessly patted her forehead. Trishvika still said nothing. She silently walked towards her room. As she left, Abhigyanji, walking towards the door, said, "I am going to the Rana's house right now. My daughter is not a toy that they can marry when they want and divorce when they feel like it." Omikaji stopped him and said, "My daughter is paying for your mistake." Hearing Omikaji's words, Abhigyanji's feet halted at the door. He asked in shock, "What? What did you say?" "You heard right. Because of your stubbornness, Ashvi is in this condition today. She refused this marriage so many times, but you insisted on it to fulfill your own stubborn desire. And today, she is paying the price for marrying that man. You are responsible for all this." Omikaji shouted. Abhigyanji, with equal intensity, shouted back, "So was I wishing ill for my own child? How was I supposed to know that Devyansh would turn out like this?" Karhik calmed them down, saying, "Mom, Dad, please calm down, both of you. Can't you see the condition Ashwidi is in right now? You should be taking care of her, and here you are fighting with each other." Hearing Karhik, Abhigyanji went to his room, and Omikaji headed towards Trishvika's room. Karhik took a deep breath. Niharika placed her hand on his shoulder and said, "Karhik, everything will be okay. Ashwidi is not weak. You'll see how quickly she recovers, okay? Trust me." Karhik hugged Niharika and buried his face in her shoulder. At this moment, he really needed someone to hold him and give him courage, because he knew that it was up to him to take care of his Ashwidi. It was futile to expect anything from their own mom and dad. In such situations, Trishvika had always supported and motivated him, but today he had to take care of Trishvika himself, alone. He pulled away from Niharika and said, "Thank you, Neha. I really needed this strength right now. I'm here, right? We both will bring Dee back to her old self. We'll heal her." Niharika reassured him, caressing her cheek. Karhik nodded and said, "Come on, I'll drop you home." "I'll go by myself. You go to Ashwidi right now. She needs you. She is more important," Niharika said. Karhik insisted, "Mom is with Dee, and you are important too. It's raining. You can't go alone. I'll drop you home myself." Niharika didn't say anything further, and Karhik took her out through the gate. Hey lilies, your turn to shine. What stole your heart in this chapter and what didn't? What deserves a little extra love? Share your thoughts in below. I can't wait to hear your opinion. Don't forget to like, comment and share this update with your favorite bookworms. Your support fuels our journey with this novel. Stay tuned for more twists and turns in Two Souls Written in Scars. Until then, may your dreams be filled with your favorite fictional characters. All yours, Satyanshi.